They are using that. I know Magnus previously has sort of been into yoga and meditation and stuff like that. Do you think he is actively using breathing?
I know a lot of players do. Gukesh, I think, meditates.
Vidit.
Eric Geisy, Vidit.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful. But I also think about these top players, right? Especially the top 10 players. They really thrive in these high-pressure situations. To be the best in the world, I think your best has to come out in situations like these. You can't really get nervous and let your nerves get the better of it. And we see that time and time again with Magnus, also with Maxime. There's absolute fire. All hell has broken loose in the position. And we're all freaking out as commentators, as audience enjoying it. But there's no reaction. Because in their mind, it's just... I think it just really brings out their ability to control themselves and to calm themselves down and just really the best in them. And that's why they're champions.
Yeah. And they probably enjoy it as well, right? When it is fire on the board. I was actually going to ask right before Magnus sacrificed his queen if it was sort of giving Maxime an edge that he had sacrificed a piece because, well, if I lose this game, then at least I played something beautiful.
That's true. A lot of players, it takes the pressure off. I think that's why kind of genius players like Tal, they had this aura around them. They would sacrifice, they get the moral victory. They're like, okay, I sacrificed, the pressure's on you, mate. And the opponents can't deal with that. Players like Dubov, who's always throwing pawns away. It's like less responsibility every move. And your opponent is terrified they'll fall victim to a brilliant victory, a brilliant game.
So again, is it a mind game by Magnus then to sacrifice himself so he sort of gets, levels the mind games again?
Yeah, and one secret I will reveal about Magnus, just from knowing him, chatting with him and watching his games, is he loves to sacrifice his queen as long as he gets 2 pieces in return and some kind of positional compensation. He'll happily give his queen away. He kind of gets a kick out of it. I'm not sure exactly why. It seems to work for him, not for me, unfortunately, those queen blunders. But yeah, he loves going for that. And I think Maxime Vachier Lagrave as well, he'll never back down from a challenge. And the fact he saw the counter-sacrifice, giving back the queen and a roughly level position, really shows his class.
Yeah, and it's also about just what's happening on the board. If they feel like that's the best alternative, that's the best option, so concrete, just calculated till the end. Neither of these players wants to go into a passive position, wants to defend long term. So they always go for these combative options. It's very interesting what you said about playing beautiful chess, playing these sacrifices, and even if it goes wrong, thinking that, you know what, you get the beauty prize. But I think it was Magnus who said that the beauty prize is not good enough. Just playing beautiful chess and justifying it to yourself if you end up losing that at least you played a beautiful game just doesn't make the cut.
Yeah, that's the sports aspect to the game that we know Magnus loves.
Yeah, but he's getting older. He's won everything. So now I think the only thing left is beautiful games. He's definitely got his legacy on his mind. I think he wants to win a few more stunners before he retires.
What's more important, David, to play a beautiful game or to get the win in? What would you rather? Play a really nice game and then just mess it up in one move and then the result doesn't go your way, but you do get a brilliancy prize for that? Or just to play a really crap game but win in the end?
I mean, I'm not known for my beautiful games, so easy answer. It's all about those 100-move grinds that send people to sleep, that my opponent's yawning, and definitely no beauty prizes there. It's all about the result. How about you, Tanya?
I would take the win. I would take the win because chess is such a cruel game, right?
Yeah.
I think at every level we've had this. We've been so proud of our play for 40 moves, and then you make one inaccuracy, and it all just goes down the drain. None of it really matters, and it's heartbreaking, and nobody cares about how beautiful the game was. So yeah, definitely taking the win.
Yeah. And this one, will it be a winner in this game, or will we have a third draw? What do you think?
With this material imbalance, a draw seems least likely right now. I'm not sure. I mean, the evaluation bar slightly prefers white, but I'm not sure in practical terms whose position is easier to play. White has the 2 bishops, which usually triumph over a rook, but look at that massive black pawns on the king side. White is doing a good job right now. Magnus is kind of prioritizing blockading. Those white bishops are blockading the advance of black's pawns. But if they ever get motoring, if the black pawns ever cross into the white half, then the tables could turn. So it's not clear what next. I really like what Maxime's been doing. He's just kind of sitting on the position right now, and he's making it hard for white to improve.
Making it hard for White to improve. And the one way I thought White could improve is snap up one of the pawns. I was thinking about just bishop takes that pawn on the king side. And then I realized that, wait a second, black can actually pin that bishop on with rook h8, and it might not work. But there's actually a counter trick in that position, David, because I think rook h8, we have bishop h6 on the board, by the way. I thought rook h8 runs into bishop g5.
Yeah, a check. And this bishop, of course, can be taken, but the white rook can now capture the black rook on h8 with impunity. The problem is maybe this black pawn is starting to roll. I mean, this is such a crazy position. How is the evaluation bar still almost in the center? White is a bishop up. I don't understand. But maybe these pawns are rolling.
That's crazy, right?
A bishop for a pawn, and yet the evaluation bar says still should be a draw with best play. Maybe the black king comes, the black pawn rolls. But, I mean, it would be so hard for Maxime Vachier Lagrave to go for this. A whole bishop down. If he plays this move, rook to h8, he is superhuman. He's another level, and he would be in top form.
Yeah. I look at eval bars in these kind of positions, and I just give up on life. Chess is hard.
Chess is hard. It's the most natural move here, rook h8, but yeah, I don't see him going for this. Once you see bishop to g5 check, getting out of the way, then taking this rook next, you stop calculating, no matter how good a player you are. But, okay, what's he going to go for? It looks like he's about to move. Maxime, 4 minutes each.
He's reaching out, but if not rook to h8, then White just anyway falls back with the bishop, activating his own rook, and Maxime does go for counterattack against the other bishop on e2.
And this bishop will most likely move. It doesn't necessarily need to move. I'm not sure if it's actually a threat to take it, because White will have this bishop g5 check idea that we pointed out a moment ago. But of course, if a piece is attacked, first instinct, run. We'll defend it, but the bishop gains time against black's rook, which will go back.
Black's rook has to watch out, right? Because you want to stay connected to that g5 square that you pointed out earlier. Bishop g5 is also a threat in the position, so expecting Maxime to move the rook along the g line.
Somewhere. He's split for choice. 3 or 4 safe squares. He drops back, hitting the white bishop. Very logical, but the evaluation part, again, heading in White's favour. I mean, I would take the bishop pair all day long, just like our viewer there in the chat. But those black pawns, if they do roll, just one more move. If black can ever get f4 successfully, it's a full 360 turn. So the stakes are high.
And that's what Maxime's relying on, right? Those two central pawns, because without that, it's pretty much game over. So those two pawns keep the white bishops tied down to the defense of them rolling forward. But Magnus, he's jumping around, shuffling around with the bishop, first threatening a check on one side and now entering from the other side. Bishop c5 in the air, the rook jumping onto h7, joining the attack. There can be fire against black's king, even though there's such few material on the board.
Yeah, after all, White does, kind of forgetting pawns for a second, White does have 3 pieces against black's 2. And the 2 bishops are great attacking pieces.
Rook h7, rook f7, no mating net.
Mating net around the black king, potentially. Let's just show that type of idea. If Maxime is careless, of course he won't be, but if he just plays
Magnus reacts here.
Ooh, maybe he's missed something. If Maxime were to just make a random move, let's say he repeats, then the white rook could come in and behind and, okay, the evaluation bar reacts, but this would have been a mating pattern. At least black now entering the center. Whoops, my arrows are crazy today. But pawn to f4 in the air, still not immediately a threat, but white goes behind. He's going for those ideas you mentioned, Tanya.
Yes, and now f4 is actually met by this deadly check, which will end up winning one of the 2 pawns. So if you go f4, you give a check, the king has to fall back, and then the f4 pawn. Well, he goes for f4.
Whoa, this would be a trick. What? Bishop takes f4 now would be losing, Tanya, because look at this. Suddenly it's black who's mating the white king.
Oh, my God.
This is a deadly trick, a really, really dastardly trap here.
So what move are we looking for now?
Magnus will give the check. I'm pretty sure this was his plan. But I think here he will realize that this pawn is poisoned. He cannot allow a check on this g1 square. If the bishop is distracted, then black suddenly would turn things around. And we talked about 2 bishops. 2 rooks also know how to deliver checkmate. And this would be game over. Oof. Magnus, I think, has missed this. Maxime, to spot this instantly, shows his calculation skills, but also just how strong he is tactically.
Tactically, just so sharp. Maxime Vachier Lagrave finding this kill zone for White's king with just seconds on the clock. And I think it's now that Magnus realizes that rook h5 just doesn't get him what he wants, which means that actually Maxime has managed to push the pawns ahead. And we've got the eval bar saying that Magnus is winning. But if you're playing this position from a practical standpoint, once black gets a successful f4 in, you start sweating.
Yeah, the main thing going in Magnus's head is not that I'm better, I have an advantage. It's I missed something. That is the key now for Magnus, and he does give this check. But if he takes this pawn, he'll lose. He doesn't take the bait there.
Wow.
And he finds the best move, gaining time against Black's rook. That being said, Black's pawns are pretty impressive right now. So if Black can survive the next few moves and get them rolling, then Maxime still has a chance. Again, such high-quality play. Both players seeing everything right now. Still 0 blunders this whole match.
Magnus finding bishop b6 just incredible. Also, not only just attacking that rook on d8, but you want to guard that g1 square, not allow Black's rooks to line up on the 8th rank. And these bishops can start sort of coordinating together to start hitting the Black rook. Rook d7, you can ask more questions. Bishop to b5, it's just not so easy for the rooks to feel comfortable once the bishops start coming after them. But he takes the pawn, but doesn't this allow...
Oh, and the evaluation bar is getting confused here. The Black pawns are rolling. I think there was no mating net there because White would have eliminated the remaining Black pawn, the pawn on b4, and White's king would have had some breathing space. So Maxime, he's going all in. He's thrown all of his chips behind his pawns here in the center, and they're rolling.
But it's the Black king, David. There can be a mating net with the 2 bishops and the rook trying to line up against Black's king, but I'm not seeing it.
The good thing for Magnus is these pawns, they're rolling, but he can give up one of his bishops for them, and he should be relatively safe there. He plays the most natural check, but the evaluation bar says no. How frustrating is this? The Black king has only got 2 safe squares. It gains time against the White rook. And now, does Maxime make a new queen? No, he doesn't. Oof, crazy move here. Don't take this Black rook. Black will make a new queen. This rook is poisoned, and the other Black pawn is going to roll.
I love that move by Maxime, just offering his rook. You can't take it. And as you said, it defends the e-pawn, wanting to go e6 next. And the bar is just going crazy. There's a bit of yo-yo going on, and nobody knows what's happening.
Yeah, yo-yo, YOLO. It's just one of those games, one of those positions in Tanya. I'm just going to jump in very quickly to point out a crazy tactic that Maxime Vachier Lagrave actually missed just a few turns ago. Here he played rook to e1, a move we really like, defending this pawn. He could have played the insane rook to d3. This isn't me, don't worry. It's the computer. Rook to d3, and Black makes a new queen. You simply give up your rook to cut the connection with the bishop and this promotion square. Watch out for this to arise later. The evaluation bar says still complicated, but yeah, it's just that type of position. Tricks all over the shop.
That's stunning. Rook d3. Oh, what a move. But you can't fault Maxime for not finding that one. And now Magnus lines it up against the f2 pawn. Black can start advancing the e pawn. If there's a possibility for Magnus to sacrifice one of his bishops for the pawn, I think White will actually have the advantage because you've got these 3 pawns on the queen side. So Maxime needs to keep these 2 pawns alive and keep the pieces distracted defending them.
Yeah, maybe each Black pawn will cost White one of his bishops. And then we'd see a crazy scenario with White having a rook and 3 pawns versus 2 Black rooks. But yeah, right now, who would you rather be? Oh. It's so hard to play this position for both sides.
I would just rather be me commentating on this.
Yeah. Good answer, Tanya. Very good.
I'd rather be at home watching on the sofa. This is a crazy position. There's just no easy moves. Oh, Black.
Was that a blunder?
Makes a blunder, but why is this a mistake? It looks very natural, trying to eliminate one of White's bishops. The bishops are the only pieces that stop Black's pawns. It looks like a very logical move to me. But maybe this is the refutation.
It's so nice because it's all about the intermezzo. If you take that bishop on c4, White will not recapture the rook, but go bishop takes e3 with a check.
Key moment, he has to give away his bishop, take a pawn with check, and look at Maxime Vachier Lagrave, suddenly hand on his face. He tries to keep a poker face, but he missed this one. And here we go. White simply takes that Black rook. White's rook. Remember, rooks behind passed pawns, they control everything, and suddenly Magnus's queenside pawns will run. Black is too slow in this race.
And Maxime knows it. He looks away. It has been an up and down roller coaster game, but I think the ride is coming to an end now for Maxime. With the F pawn stopped by the rook, nobody's going to stop the pawns on the queen side. And Magnus there shaking his head.
And Magnus takes the win. Maxime resigns.
Wow, we have the first decided game. Takes the win. Maxime Vachier Lagrave. Oh, he's playing some great chess today, but in this one, he did lose to Magnus Carlsen. Was it inaccuracy then for